Yo, welcome back to the project. Rishiv here with another video podcast. This is Slice of Life in real life. I'm trying to balance this on my right hand. That's why I feel so scuffed right now. Anyways, of course, Grandpa's Slice of Lessons for Slice of Life lessons, daily sharing and check-ins for orphans without a place to call home, without people to, check them out. Anyways, so this is the main topic. What we have here in front of us. I'm going to hold it closer to the camera. It's food. It's like food bank type food. So it's a lot of canned foods, preservatives, and non-perishable food, and as well as a brochure. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. So we're going to cover some generous food bank donations from a volunteer connection, many volunteer connections, but specifically one of the managers I used to volunteer for in the health promotion department. So that is the main topic, and so that's a good segue into, as usual, the four questions now. What's the main highlight? Something really important that you want to share, maybe eventful, nothing too private or confidential. Just leave out some of the key details. Secondly, is there anything that was not positive, but maybe it was a bit negative that you want to vent about? Maybe you just to get that off your chest, makes you feel a little better. And again, I do read the comments. I do. Nothing too private or confidential. And once again, of course, no bad news is good news. And third, we have, if there's something that's relevant to the topic of this video, which I just talked about, this is why it's a good segue. Anything that has to do with, food bank. Have you ever been to a food bank, for example? That's a good question. No shame at all, of course. Life is overwhelming. You sometimes need that. Is there any kind of story you want to share about, some gifts that you received maybe when you were volunteering? I know you're not supposed to receive stuff like that, or maybe as a result of you volunteering many years later, the same connections hit you up for a dinner and stuff like that. So that's what it's about. And then the last thing is, it's a new question, but has your day been kind of more active? Have you been more overwhelmed, or have you been more like in more like a depressive state, or a resting state? So is this your day off, or is it a day where you get a lot of stuff done? So it's just kind of like a brief yes or no answer. That one's very brief. And of course, at the very end, you can just swap all of that. You can pick any one of those questions to answer. You can answer all of them or none of them. Just share a little bit about yourselves. And then, or you could swap it all out for something really fun and lighthearted by just dropping in a meme and making some laughs. So I'm going to try and do that myself. Again, I have to make a template and post it down there in the YouTube comments, Discord page, as well as Reddit, which I haven't gone to yet because I'm going through a crisis situation right now. So with that being said, let's get right to it. We're going to run through all the food. First of all, I want to mention this is a very clear direction. This is a clear continuation from the previous video podcast. So over here we have this brochure, and there's actually one here on the side that I didn't show you because we already covered it, and that one covers transportation services for the seniors home that I volunteer for. If you hear a little bit of the background, it's because there's actually right now a very heavy thunderstorm, but I gotta be out there. Actually, it's kind of interesting that I'm probably going to carry some sort of umbrella. Anyways, we have this here, and it's the brochure. I mean, not a brochure, but a guide that I wanted to speak more about. So we left off in the previous episode. Something stuck to it. Some of the content. So at the very beginning, I read the foreword and also read the beginning, strong body, strong mind, and said there's some of the address details inside. So the foreword presents simple ways of keeping one's body and mind strong, provides bone health information, all that kind of stuff. And then now we're actually going to dive into the content in brief detail, but in more detail than the previous. So for example, let's run through, it looks like about 20 pages. So the first page here, or maybe the second after the foreword, is bone health for ages 50 and older. And I can't show you too much because of copyright and stuff like that. So I'm just going to read it to you and show you on the side. Maybe you can see a little bit like this. So genetics, hormones, nutrition, and physical activity. So 4 major factors that contribute to bone health. You think of like a disease for bones would be osteoporosis. How can you maintain bone health? So nutrition, 1, 2, 3, 4, they give a listing, and they give here calcium content of some common foods, and they run through yogurt, fortified milk, salmon, cheddar cheese, and they have portions. We have at the very back of that, we have vitamin D sources. So, for example, fish, eggs, fatty fish, sunlight. Daily supplement recommendations for vitamin D as well. So, which is only applicable for adults living without osteoporosis. And then they have a little, some international IU units. Physical activity are there the benefits of physical activity. So, works with calcium and vitamin D, and a bunch of other benefits, at least 5 bullet points. Exercising regularly, do at least 20 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity and other stuff, and check in with your physician if you have recent medical events. Next page covers recommended activities for bone health. So 1 and 2, weight bearing activities. So like not weightlifting necessarily, because this is geared towards seniors, but bones and muscles working against the force of gravity, and resistance activities as well. So resistance training, just more lighter. And then there's a new segue here, right? So we went from bone health to fall prevention. So facts on falls. So 1 out of 3 older adults, they say older adults, meaning seniors. So that makes it more, makes it a little bit more, I don't know, less, it emphasizes less on labeling you as a senior. Will fall every year. So you're just an adult who's just older. 1 out of 2 of all fall-related injuries happen at home, and so on and so forth. Factors, just with statistics. Factors that can increase your risk of falling. They give 4 here: poor balance, reduced vision, stuff like that. Behind it, they have some, it seems like a PPE or some assistive equipment. So devices, supportive footwear, staying active, eating well. Oh, that's just general habits. Monitoring your eyesight and hearing, and knowing your medications. Third major section is home safety checklist. So again, I am talking very quickly because whenever it comes to this kind of stuff, there's just too much information. I'm not going to go in detail. But even if I skim the contents, there's still a lot to talk and cover about. So I apologize that I'm pacing very quickly right now for this video, because there is, it's a guide. Bathroom, I use this non-skid floor mat, rubber mat. I install the tub mat when the surface is dry. So they have a checklist here. Like, again, I wish I could share this with you. I can't because of copyright reasons. But if you go to a senior's home and maybe you start volunteering, I'm pretty sure one of their departments, like a geriatric health promotion department, will have something similar to this if it's relevant to any. If any of my viewers, by the way, I don't mind if you guys are 15 or 35 or 65. Like, all are welcome. Most of my friends I've mentioned before are seniors. Like, until fairly recently, most of my life I've been able to get along with people who are decades older than I am, and not so much with people my age. So definitely, there's no exclusionary stuff here. All are welcome. And this stuff would be catered for you, I guess, to be more relevant for you. So I use a raised toilet seat. Bedroom items I use, I start adulting very early in life, you could say. That's why it is that we have so much in connection. Items I use regularly: hearing aids, glasses, cane walker, some bedroom items. Next, kitchen, living area, stairs, and they just go through the checklist of what things you should do, like storing my pots and pans at levels between my knees and shoulder, not too high up. Living areas, here's an example. I arranged furniture so that I have a clear walking path, that way I don't trip. And stairs as well, non-slip surface. So the last section here seems to be building strong minds. Or it's not the last one. Reducing stress. What is stress? So they give a definition, facts about stress, examples of stress, moving, changing jobs, death of a loved one. What can lead to stress? They go through the factors and the different types of factors. Environmental factors like noise, social factors like financial problems or disagreements and conflict, physiological factors, number 3, or illnesses and stuff like that, and 4, thoughts, expecting too much. So this has a lot to do with almost psychological stuff for sure. A pessimistic attitude, or being a perfectionist, too many expectations, or expecting failure, or being too competitive, all that kind of stuff. How do you know that you are stressed? So these are symptoms and signs. For example, physical and psychological or emotional symptoms, like dry mouth, trouble breathing, tight muscles, more cold, more flu. And then the emotional, psychological, you can't concentrate, get upset easily, forgetfulness. Suggestions for reducing stress. So when you want to reduce stress, find a support system, set realistic goals, changing your attitude, and set realistic goals. That's a very famous acronym with that SMART. So they're running through SMART goals in this brochure. talk with family and friends, right? Change your attitude, try not to be too hard, or think positive, blah, blah, blah. More, continued. So we have 3 pages of this actually. Be organized. Do not leave things for the last minute. Plan them out. 5, get a hobby, right? Hobbies let you experience the good things in life. They give you genuine pleasure. Number 6, give yourself me time. Take your mind off your problems, right? Just rest, you know. Number 7 and 8, use humor, laugh, comedy. You know, laughter helps your body relieve stress. And 8, learn some relaxation techniques like meditation or mindfulness, whatever. Deep breathing they have, that's their example they provide. Okay, here's another major section. This is the 5th section. So it turns out that the booklet is divided into 2 major sections that are broken down into 5 subsections. Okay, benefits of keeping houseplants. So houseplant gardening. Interesting. Cools the room temperature, increases oxygen in the room. That's a calming effect. Best houseplants for cleaning the air, and it gives some examples here. So I guess this is something that a lot of older adults tend to do. They tend to, you know, water plants and stuff like that. It's just therapeutic. So peace lily, umbrella plant. There's an example of that inside this household actually. Chinese evergreens, devil's ivy. Oh, when I was a kid, we used to have one of these inside. When I say we, you know, what used to be. Anyways, that's just pain now. Anyways, devil's ivy, we used to have one of those. We used to have one of those. We doesn't exist anymore, does it? Mother's-in-law tongue. Jesus, to have a plant named mother-in-law's tongue. Not kidding, man. Here's a plant named mother-in-law's tongue. Vicious. Okay. Yeah, and it looks vicious too. It looks like, you know, those like dagger blades coming out in a Indiana Jones kind of trap movie. Anyways, last page here is just blank except for this acknowledgements. So in alphabetical order, something, society, or exercise physiology of our country, health blah of our country, veterans affairs, prevention falls initiative, the city's master gardeners, the city's public health agency, and osteoporosis of the national osteoporosis. Again, provincial, the city, and I'm trying to not say which country. The production of this booklet is supported by the government of blah. So there we have the provincial government as well. So clearly there are references from the federal or national level, as well as the municipal, local level, and then even in the middle, the state, provincial level. So it's like a real collaborative effort. Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration and the Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Sport have all contributed. So this is all from 2010 to 2012. Very nice pamphlet, little booklet guide. We'll put this down and say that, again, this came from inside this bag, which I received from my fantastic health promotion manager at the volunteering place. So again, I've been volunteering for about 15 years. No, I've been with the organization for 15 years, but I've only volunteered for like about 7, so about half of those. And those 7 were, no, 9, but most of those 7 of those 9 years were actually after university. So I'll pull out here a cartridge of what I want to show you. This is some of the foods that's inside that's finished. I only finished one item from the food bag because there's the rest is all perishable food, I mean non-perishable food that has to be heated up, or you need a can opener basically. So this one doesn't need a can opener, and what this is a clover leaf. We're gonna run through all the food bank stuff. So a clover leaf brand snacks, chicken salad. You could say this is like the halfway point of the video, because now we're covering all the food. That was the information. Original 6 crackers and spoon. Very nice, very good. It tasted great. There was celery and chicken inside this can. You just unpeel it, and on the inside. And they provided these like stick things to scoop up chicken. So this is recyclable stuff, except, you know, there's like probably like molding chicken in here. So I ate this like a week ago. So it's gonna be tossed into either the garbage or recycling. That's about it. So I'll put that in there. And this is the only garbage we have today. These 2 here, the pamphlet covered, as well as the one in the previous video, this little transportation service, is all going into, I'm either going to give this to one of my clients, because I now, by the way, I have a second client again. I used to have 3 clients that I would, 3 senior older adult clients I would call, I would get the groceries for. I might escort once in a while, but now I was reduced down to 1 after the pandemic, and one of them passed away even, I believe, unfortunately. And yeah, but you know, now I have a 4th client Technically, I have 2 clients now because I have a new client, and fantastic person. I already mentioned this before. I'm not going to disclose anything further than that because privacy confidentiality. But basically, this I consider as something I might give one of my clients, and the one of them is actually from you think of like Taiwan, Hong Kong, that kind of thing. That's where he's from. So I want to give maybe this one to him, but it's in English, so maybe that's not so great. So what I'm gonna do now is pull this up, and there's a bag, 2 bags. So there's a plastic bag on the outside, and there's a paper bag on the inside. So we're just gonna. The reason why I have the plastic bag on the outside this was to keep it clean. The paper bag. I believe that the floor over there where I put this food bank stuff on was a little bit dirty, so I just wanted to be careful with that. So what I'm doing now is just gonna flip to the side. I know it's a bit noisy. I apologize. So you can see on the inside here. So I'm gonna first pull up some stuff that's not food related.